We are now just a little over 11 months away from the release of Star Wars Episode 9 by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one thing that a lot of people are very curious about going into this movie has all to do with the major cameos that will be a part of Episode 9. Now, if you look at the history of the Star Wars films, under the Disney era, every single movie has one or two major cameos. Rogue One is a great example. We had the Leia Organa cameo at the very end, and we also had the Darth Vader appearances in the movie. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art and storyboard descriptions, etc., and even some of the prop pieces as well for Episode 9. Now, what's really intriguing is that this all has to do with the character of Anakin Skywalker. One of the prop pieces described as a dummy of the Anakin Skywalker body, with the limbs actually detached, are being a part of Episode 9's set piece that will involve Adam Driver and Daisy Ridley. So this is really raising a lot of questions, and it brings us closer to a confirmation, full-blown here, that Anakin will be involved in Star Wars Episode 9. Now, this dummy prop piece that's a life-size version of Anakin Skywalker without his limbs, this could very well line directly up with what we heard a couple of months ago about the flashback and vision sequences for Kylo Ren and/or Rey of the character of Anakin Skywalker in Episode 9. Now, after all, this is the final Skywalker saga film, and when you think about Skywalker, right, you think of Anakin and Luke. Pretty much, those are the two real Skywalkers in the Star Wars universe, in my opinion. One would argue that yes, since they call it the Skywalker saga, it has all to do with Ben Solo and Leia now in Star Wars Episode 9. But it most definitely has all to do with Luke and Anakin. So what I find very intriguing about this prop piece that's described as a dummy, a life-size dummy of Anakin Skywalker without his limbs, it tells us that we could very well be getting that back-to-tank sequence that we heard about a couple of weeks ago, and it definitely lines directly up with just that. And what I mean by all of this is that this is most likely going to be in the form of a force-back vision, a flashback, or a dream sequence perhaps. The things that we have been hearing before in the past definitely do line directly up with all of this. This brings me back to The Last Jedi when we heard a little bit more about the Yoda puppet being involved with Star Wars Episode 8, and a lot of people are wondering about how big of a deal Yoda would be in Star Wars The Last Jedi, and it ended up being a pretty good scene. You know, that was one of the good scenes in Episode 8. Yes, it has its flaws. I feel like Yoda was off in that movie. It didn't feel like the real Yoda to me, at least in my point of view, and it could have been a little bit, just a little bit more lengthier. But looking at everything here when it comes to Anakin, alright, throwing in Anakin into Star Wars Episode 9, my stance on this is, you can't just throw in Anakin for no reason at all. You have to give him a purpose, a actual meaning, and it has to be full of substance. It really does need to resonate with fans, and in order to do that, you really do have to create some kind of backstory or some kind of reason as to why the character of Anakin Skywalker is going to be involved in Star Wars Episode 9. So with that being said, you know, we have been learning all about this movie as we get closer to the very end of filming by writer and director J.J. Abrams. He is working very hard on this film. It's said to be a very high budget movie, even more expensive than that of The Last Jedi and The Force Awakens. So a lot of things are really being implemented into this film. So the other thing that I do want to discuss is that this all has to do with Kylo Ren mostly, Adam Driver himself. Now, we do know that Adam is filming more scenes right now, and he's going to be taking a break soon before they end filming over in February of this year. So you can see how everything is really coming together here. You know, just a couple of weeks ago, we heard about revelations of Anakin Skywalker being made in Episode 9, which also lines directly up with this prop piece that is going to be used on one of the set designs between both Daisy Ridley and Adam Driver, and interacting with this dummy of Anakin Skywalker without his limbs. Again, like I say, I don't think Anakin is coming back to life. Absolutely not. As much, you know, as I have heard that before, people requesting that, like, what do you think about Anakin coming back to life? I just think it's impossible. So this is most definitely in the form of a vision, flashback, a dream sequence, whatever have you, and I think that it really is going to serve as a lecture to that of the character of Kylo Ren, in order to show him exactly what's going to happen to him if he goes down the dark path way too far. And it's a constant reminder of what happened to his grandfather, Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader, on Mustafar. And that brings us to yet another interesting piece. We do know that they had plans to shoot over in Italy, and that could also point a direction that we are going over to Mustafar in episode 9. But anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.